This is the third chapter where I'm going to focus on how to set up a live assistant for an interview that is coming up in the future. The scenario is I have a Google product manager actual job interview that will happen tomorrow, and I want real-time assistant during the interview, which basically means that as soon as an interviewer asks me a question, I should be getting the answer under 2 seconds, and the answer will appear in a private window or a transparent window, which will be 100% invisible to the interviewer. Okay, so I'm going to click on Setup Live Assistant, and it will open a drawer here like you see. This is different from the other versions that we had previously, right? And if you are doing it from your phone, then there will be a drawer which will appear from the bottom. If you need any help in the setup, you can always click on this and it will trigger open a video which you can watch as well. Okay, let's follow through. So there are basically two steps. The first step is the interview details. I'm going to put Google here, and let's say the job role is senior product manager, right? The next is interview type. This is the most essential field here in this step, where you have to select the interview type or round that matches your upcoming interview. Right? What it means is AI will be personalized based on the type of the interview that is going to happen. So if you know that it is going to be taken by an HR, or there are going to be general questions on your experience, then you should go for a behavioral interview. Now, there are two categories here. If you see, there is one is voice based, which is conversational AI, and then there is a written assessment based, which is non-interactive or non-voice, which basically means there is no interviewer or human interviewer at the other side of the screen. Right. Voice based is there is an human interviewer or an AI interviewer which is going to ask you questions, and the AI assistant should be able to generate answers. Now, I'm going to explain shortly what these different types of interviews are. Please be mindful of this. So behavioral interview is when there is a HR manager or a hiring manager going to ask you questions about your work experience, about your projects, and you want answers to be in star format: situation, task, action, result. So you should select behavioral interview. If you are an engineer or a product manager or a marketing manager or an operations manager or in any functional roles that you know or you're in, you can select technical slash domain specific, because it will generate answers based on technical domain skill sets. Do not necessarily think that it is only for coders or software engineers. It can range from all the different functional roles that I spoke about, right? If you are experienced consultant, like a big four consultant, and you want to solve case studies or problem solving during the interview, then you should select case study and problem solving. And finally, for everybody who does not know what kind of interview that they're going to get in, because it's all not mentioned in the job description or the email that you have received, then you should select general comprehensive. Do not worry, it will still do the best of both worlds, like behavioral answers or technical or domain specific answers as well. If it is a live coding challenge, then you should select a written assessment, because you know there's no human interviewer or AI interviewer that is going to be there at the other side. There are only questions that are going to flash on your screen, and you need answers based on what the question shows up on the screen. It can be a multiple choice, it can be a coding challenge, etc. We are also coming up with a written assessment, which is something like there's a slide deck that you have to basically analyze. You can select written assessment for that. Okay. So this, I'm going to go ahead and do technical domain specific. Now I'm going to move down. There are options are for adding the meeting link. Here, you should add the interview meeting link of the job interview that you have received in your calendar or scheduled in your calendar, received in your email, right? For example purpose, I'm going to select this meet.google.com. This has to be a complete Google Meet link. If it is not, let's say you select something like youtube.com, it is going to throw an error which says please enter a valid meeting link. Okay, so please be mindful of that. Let's say you don't have the link yet, it is not there, so you can select I don't have the link yet. That's totally fine. You can always add it while you are launching the system. Now the next option is to select the dates and time and the time zone. So you should select a time zone which is respective of the interview that is going to happen in that particular time, whether you're in the US or India or UK, and then select the date and time of that actual interview that is going to happen, right? So let's say it is going to happen tomorrow at, let's say, 7 p.m. So I'm going to select this, right? And that's it. If you find any errors, please reach out to our support on the chat here and say that I'm unable to basically schedule based on the date and time or time zone. Okay. Now, if I click on next step, basically my step one is completed, and I go to the next step here. And let's say I'm unable to find the job description right now, and I want to close this now and come back later. So let me do that. You can see my dashboard has completely changed. Okay, so this is now a returning user dashboard, which basically means that you have already in the process of setting up an interview. So the primary action zone, which we call it at the top, is whatever is the latest interview that is going to happen, it will show up here. And the other interviews will appear under this table, like active interviews and performance history. Now I'm going to speak about them in detail during our returning user dashboard chapter. Okay, so now you can see the interview setup is incomplete. It was a senior product manager at Google, and it was a web interview, live interview, and it was scheduled for tomorrow at this time. Right? You can click on watch setup tutorial to basically watch the same tutorial guide of how to set it up. Right? So you can choose to delete the draft and set it up from again start, or you can click on complete setup, and it will fetch all the details. You can see all of them available here, and you should select next step to come to here. Now, here you have to set up the AI assistant where you have to feed in the necessary details. Number one is job description. So here there is a job description that I have. I'm going to just copy this from here and paste it. Now, please be mindful. You need to upload an actual job description that is available, that is in your email from the HR. If you don't have a true job description, you can always go to ChatGPT or any of the Claude LLMs, and you can feed in the company name and the role that you're appearing and ask them to prepare a very detailed job description based on your years of experience so that it provides enough context for AI to tailor the questions and answers. Okay. You have two options. You can paste your text or you can upload your file, but it is an either or. You cannot do both of them. Okay. So I've already pasted my text. So I'm going to go ahead. The second is to basically select your resume or CV. Now, if you remember, during our onboarding chapter, I was showing if options to upload your resume or CV at that point in time. If you have already done that, it will appear here. If you haven't, then it will ask you to upload them. Let me click on that, and let me paste my CV here and click on upload. It will hardly take 5 seconds, and it is done. You can always upload additional CVs. There is no limit to that. And based on the interview that you are going through or going to appear, you should select that. Right. The next is an optional field, but it's very pivotal. It is about if you have a specific project or an achievement that is not covered in your resume or CV, or you want to add additional context or copy around that particular experience, then you should upload that file in either CSV or PDF or TXT or doc format. Currently, we're allowing only one single file upload. If you want multiple file uploads, please reach out to our support and we'll help you do that. Okay. So you can select file and just basically put it here. Okay. So I'm going to leave it here for now. The reason why it is important is uh, this job description, the resume that you have provided, the company name and the role, and the additional context that you're adding will help to personalize the assistant to generate very structured and relevant responses during the interview. Okay. The last field is to choose the environment. Now you can see there are two options for you. One is desktop app and the other is the web browser assistant. Now I'm going to explain you in detail what is the difference between both of them. Like you can see under desktop app, it is written recommended. It is 100% invisible to interviewers, even when you share your entire screen. The way that I'm currently sharing my screen to you guys, so that you can see the below taskbar and the above tabs, everything is visible to you. So for such kind of scenarios, and if it is a coding or a technical or domain specific interview type, then you should select the desktop app. It is generally recommended for that, right? If uh, it is more of an HR interview or a case study interview, or basically um, you do not need to share your entire screen, but let's say you might need to share a particular browser tab, let's say this tab, right? Then you can go ahead and select the web browser assistant. Now, the models that are running behind the scenes, the intelligence layer is the same, so you don't have to worry about it. It's just for coding or technical interviews, you should go ahead and select desktop application. For any kind of other interviews, you should select the web browser assistant. Okay. Again, if you need to share your screen, just remember that you should go for desktop app. If you don't have to share your screen, or maybe just need to share your tab or your Chrome window, then you can go ahead with web browser assistant. Okay. The the other important part is under desktop app, you'll have to download the application and install it. For web browser, you don't have to do anything of that sort because it's actually running on a browser, right? The recommended browser is always Chrome. We can also use Edge. Please don't use Firefox or Safari or any of these other browsers that are there. Okay, always trust Chrome because that's the most compatible one. And number two is, obviously you won't be able to install or download the desktop app or select it if you are doing it from your phone. So we always recommend that when you are setting up the interview, at least the live interview, please do it from your desktop or your laptop device, so that the desktop app mode is visible to you for selection. Okay. Since chapter is for the web mode, I'm going to select web browser assistant. Your interview environment is ready and you don't have to do any additional installation like it mentions. Okay. I'm going to click on finish and schedule, and that should basically complete the setup. It hardly takes 2 to 5 minutes based on whatever data you need, like the job description or your CV that is already ready, right? Great. My interview setup has been completed now. It says that live AI assistant is ready. I should run a simulation to experience the AI assistant in action. And number two is I should check my email for detailed setup instructions. So please navigate to the email. You would have received all the instructions and the interview summary that you have currently created. Okay. You have two options. You can go and click back to dashboard, or you can click on run simulation to simulate how the web assistant will work. Okay. For now, just going to click on back to dashboard because I want to show one last thing before I end this chapter. As you can see, the action zone here, it was previously showing incomplete. Now my live interview is ready, and the product manager Google is available, the role title and the timestamp, everything is available, right? I have another option coming up here, which is edit details. Okay. This is the same interview that you're seeing on top of that, right? Basically, there would be multiple interviews appearing here based on, let's say, the mock or live interviews that you have created, while this will feature only the latest interview, right? So I have three options right now. One is launch, the run simulation, and edit details, okay, which is appearing here as well, right? I'm going to just click on edit details here and I'll show you what happens. So essentially, whatever details that you added during your setup, you can go back and basically save or edit each of them, like changing the name of the company, the role, the type, the date, time, the meeting link. You can also add it if you got it. Okay. And similarly, in the next step, you can change the mode. Let's say you can move it from web to desktop assistant mode, or update your CV or update your job description. Okay. And I don't have anything to do right now, so I'm going to just click close, right? And you have two options. One is the launch option and the other one is the run simulation option. Okay. So if I click on launch, this is a very important uh, notification that you can see here, which says that if I launch now, it will immediately deduct one live interview credit. Now, this is non-refundable. As soon as you finish the live interview credit, it's gone. Okay. On your free plan, you just have one interview limit for 15 minutes. So please be mindful of that. And the AI assistant will need a human interviewer to speak first. So at the other end of the interview, you need to have a human uh, interviewer at the other end so that it generates answers. It does not uh, you know it will not work otherwise. If you are basically joining in uh, and you are waiting for somebody to ask questions, that's not how it happens, right? So if there is no human present, the assistant will fail and your credit is going to be used up. So, and the recommended action is to launch this assistant 5 to 10 minutes before the start time of the actual interview, which is like for me, it is tomorrow. So I should actually launch it 5 to 10 minutes before it. And I can click on run simulation. Now, simulation is free for any number of times. You should do it definitely multiple times until you're confident that how this entire wizard works and how the AI assistant generates responses, how you can share your screen and still be mindful of everything, right? So you should do run simulation once or twice before your actual interview until you are pro at this, right? But let's say you want to launch it anyway, then you can always click on launch anyway, right? So same here, you can see launch and run simulation, which is appearing as primary and the secondary CT is available. Okay, that marks the end of this chapter. In the next chapter, we are going to talk about uh, how to run a simulation for the live interview.